Okay, Teresa, take two. This is the second part of Luiz. So I just did all the contours and highlights. I just powdered everything, which made me be able to kind of give a nice little bit of blend in the contour and set all the highlights in place. So this is just his face now. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the brow. I'm using the Benefits Give Me Brow in the light color for him, and so you're gonna have that in your kit. Now Michael has a fairly thin brow, which we're using his natural brow as the coarse brow, but in the show we're going to thicken it basically one width of this higher. So imagine my brow is in half. I'm going over top of his. Right, and you can put this right on the skin and it will read. And then I'm filling the rest of the brow, kind of measuring all that in there. And I'm kind of going for a bit of an angle in the arch. Right, so it does have a little bit of shaping and a little bit more attitude. After all, he's going to be the king of Barataria. Right. So basically, his finished brow should kind of look like my normal brow. Gonna do the other side. So boom. Okay, so I'm just cheating that out in there a little bit. There. And getting the bottom in there. Sorry for the pounding in the background.
Sorry.
There we go. And so that's connecting that corner. In there. Okay, so that takes care of the brows. And then we're going to darken that shadow in the crease, just so he's got a little bit more prominence in the eye. So I'm using the Twilight Sable for that. Now you know how it goes. For my lid, I have to trace it over top. I'm not sure what Michael's lid is like right now. I don't recall if his crease you can just see really well, or if you're gonna have to paint it over top. So if when he's looking at you, the crease disappears under a fold, paint it over top like I'm about to. So I'm not going into the very corner of the eye, but I'm going a little bit before and over top and then back down. And I'm not meeting the corner. I just kind of want to see a deeper set eye. And then doing that on the other side as well. Okay, so you see it just punches the eye up a little bit, gives him a little more depth in the eye. Just kind of makes him a little bit more, principle. We're also going to put just in the center of the lid a bit of highlight. I'm just kind of smearing the edge again there. It doesn't have to be super precise. And then you could go ahead and just powder that Boom, boom. And that'll help you kind of blend this a little bit as well. Now, here is the part I thought of you about. Because Luis's eye is a little bit feline. So it's got the top line going all the way across in the black pencil. And you're going all the way to the corner. Now, in the bottom, what we're doing is I'm going basically from the iris. I'm starting there. And I'm connecting it to there. And then I'm getting him just a hint of a cat eye. Just so it gives him a little bit more exoticism, right? Because he's from Barataria, technically speaking, seeing as he's the prince, though nobody knows. But so it's just giving him a little bit more exotic into the eye, and it helps tie in with the dark brow, dark full brow. So we're gonna do that.
What far one there is for the bottom?
Right in there.
That far one there is the bottom.
So next eye, lining. Corner to corner. And then from the middle of the iris, going out. And a little bit of catting out. Now, for the cat eye, basically what I'm doing is I'm extending this curve on the lower lid. So I'm just following that curve out just a smidge before I reconnect it and smooth the transition into that top lid. It has kind of that Egyptian eye, cat eye feel to it. Really, it's just I want to bring a little different flavor to his eye than everybody else's. So that's why that's there. Then, with the cheek, we're going with the Coral Blush. So I'm just kind of sweeping the bottom of the apple in there and going over the top of this shadow. I'm not super concerned about it connecting to the highlight. I just want it really to get a little warmth where the contour is and into the apple. So again, on the other side, getting the bottom of the apple so that there's, a little bit of color in there. And then in the cheek. The women don't have a lot of color in the cheek, so the men shouldn't look more made up than them, right? So that's that. Basically, this is his entire look, short of his face. So you see the design right here, right? So it's got the hard edges in there with a bit of shadow in there. It's got the shadow under the jawline, which you can't see, but it's got the hard angle, the 90-degree in the cheekbone, a little bit in the apple in the cheek there. It's got the blending into the eye, the sharp, strong nose, nasolabial, or not nasolabial, sorry, the nair contoured, okay? And then a little bit of the cat eye and that shaped brow strengthened. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to do the lip. I'm taking the brown liner and I'm just following the line of his lip. And he's already got fairly full lips, so we don't really need to put a lot of emphasis in there. It's just this brown line is going to make them stand out a little more. And then in the bottom. Right at the very bottom, in fact, it could be a little heavier of a line. Down what you've got up top.
Okay, brace that.
Boom. Then I'm going to take my lip brush, and I'm taking the natural lip cream stick, whatever you want to call it. And so I'm going to start filling it in. And then in this bottom thicker line, that'll give you a little room for blending, just so we have that little bit of extra dimension into that lip. Okay, so then with the facial hair, you're gonna spirit gum onto the face, and then there's going to be this part. Now this is gonna be dyed and it's gonna be trimmed a little bit, but that was just so you had an idea of placement. Goes right in there, so there's the shadow in there, and this sits right in there, right? And then there will be the two mustache halves. There will be the first half. Whoop, there goes the mustache. Goes here. So there's the little, I don't ever remember what that's called, but this little doodad here, and then there's the ridges on either side. It basically connects. I want a little bit of gap between lip. Do you see that here? So there's a gap between the hair and the lip, so that we see a little bit of brightness, and that's going to help people see his mouth move. So it glues from the corner. I'm going to adjust this weird curve thing here so that it doesn't do that. And then it's going to do that on the other side as well. Boom. So that it looks like this. You will have a copy of the design as well, so that will help you as well. So yeah, it's fairly simple. Now going into his chorus look is going to be fairly simple as well. What we're going to do is we're going to take the sponge again and get some foundation onto it, because that looks a lot softer. You'll see here. And that's going to be a third video for you. So I'm going to go from this face into this face for you, starting with foundation. See you in a second.